twigs and things. This event is a fun family event. Local citizens, organizations will sponsor a tree. It's $40 to enter a tree, and then it's free for the community to come. I would love to have 60 trees again. I'm not 100% sure it's going to fit in the venue, but it's free for the whole community to come. We have a box by each tree, and then you can make a donation to your favorite tree. All the proceeds go to the Carl Perkins Center, and the tree that raises the most money wins. So it's just a fun family event. The town of Oakland has been one of our sponsors for the last 2 years. We've changed up our sponsorships a little bit this year. I think I included that in the email that I sent you guys. And so tonight I was going to ask for y'all to be, let me call it the right name, one of our Santa's Workshop sponsors. It's a $1,500 sponsor. That is less than y'all donated last year. It was a $2,500 sponsorship last year. So I'm asking for $1,500 this year, and would hope y'all can consider that. I'm not sure y'all can ask, y'all are allowed to ask some questions, but I would be happy to answer any.
I don't think you need to. I think we all know about your program, and it's very worthwhile. And I don't think there would be any questions at this time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have to vote on that?
It's on the agenda somewhere, isn't it?
No, it's not.
It would have to be. It would have to.
I thought we amended to add it to the agenda.
Okay, yes, if that's how you want to handle that, yes,
Yeah.
then you did.
It was amended. Okay. The board would wish to add. Would have wished to.
I'll include that under business items.
Okay. All right. We'll look under business items on that then. All right. Anyone else wish to speak tonight? Miss Deborah.
Thank you.
Let me get my clock set.
Debbie Hummel, the Gardens of Hidden Springs. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to put on there, as quickly as possible, I would like to urge this board, town manager, mayor, to proceed quickly in working on what y'all had brought up at the last Board of Alderman meetings for amendment, charter amendment changes. And what piqued my interest with what was brought up by our vice mayor at the last meeting was section 31, because we just approved the bid that came in for asphalt, and I believe Alderman Sutton saying we probably missed a bid on somebody else because they came in because of the ambiguity that's on the bonds and contracts in that paragraph, which applied to that sentence that unless the contract price will exceed $100,000, in which case the bid bond must be 25% of the contract price. Now, that kept someone, I think, from making bids, and we're going to be having more infrastructure bids perhaps coming up for sewage, for different things that's coming up that we're going to need to move quickly. To get the last amendment changes in, it took a year, 4 months, and 16 days to get the amendment changes when it started in November of 2018. So it was finally signed off by Governor Lee in March of 2020 and then approved by the prior board on April 16 of 2020. So we've had to live with this bad business statement the Senate's put in here for over a year and a half. And we've got more bids that will be coming in. And I think keeping it at this, it's a bad business decision. Plus, there's a horrible error in there talking about that, where it says 25% of the contract price. That probably should have been bid, and it was not caught by the 3 aldermen that sit presently on this board, that was on that prior board that passed it. So we are costing our town money, but not getting this amendment changed, and this amendment changed quickly. And I suggest that we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
My name's Keith Potts. I'm representing United Soccer Club, and we've been involved in, we run the soccer program here in Oakland, and just want to take this opportunity to introduce ourselves. We have enjoyed the experience of working with you all this season, and we're going to be working with Jay and Tori on a contract for going forward. Just a little bit about us. I've been coaching for 22 years in youth soccer. of experience in organizing teams and organizing programs. So we look forward to working with time manager and with the director of Oakland Parks and Rec to set soccer on a good path for the future.
Okay, one quick comment. We need your address for the record,
Colleyville, Tennessee.
street address.
141 Signature Glen Circle.
Okay, Colleyville, Tennessee. I have asked that he get with you, Mr. J, and with Tori, and we will put him on the agenda for further time, because we need some time for discussion. Tonight was not the night to do it. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Billy Huffman. I'm one of the firefighters for Oakland Fire Department, and I'm also the president for the Oakland Firefighters Association, Local 5205.
I'm
And-
Lieutenant Rakowski with the Oakland Fire Department, also a member of the union, vice secretary.
Secretary.
So we're here to ask a question for y'all.
We would like to hold a festival event and use the land next to Kroger, and have approximately 20 to 25 plots at about $50 each, maybe 1 to 3 food trucks there. It'd be open to any local businesses that would like to come in and kind of start up the holidays and start off their, holiday run, and be able to give the citizens something to start getting presents for, start to look forward to. And we look to take that money and raise money for Fed Cares.
Okay.
And we're looking at doing this on November the 20th, the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we also have already planned, if it gets rained out that day, to move it to the next day. And we are a non-profit organization as well.
Okay. Jay, I need some guidance on this.
Under the agreement we have with the property owner, we can have, and I'm not sure the right word, Mr. Attorney, events that we sponsor or allow, which I think this would qualify,
Okay.
to on that property.
Okay.
Now, yeah, I don't want to say we're a sponsor, but we endorse the event occurring.
Okay.
That would be eligible.
Can I ask you a question? Could you, as the chief executive of the town, give them that permission, or would it need to be done by the board?
I think we probably ought to do it by the board, because there may be some that we may want to discuss. I mean, I could do it and the organization have appeal rights to the board if I deny it or something like that, but the agreement we have, landowner, is we have to sign off on the event.
I mean, does anybody have an objection to them having something for the citizens?
No, but I like the idea of going to Jay, and Jay can approve it. If he doesn't approve it, then they can come appeal to us.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Is that agree with everybody on the board?
So what y'all saying, we can reach out to vendors, see if they're even interested, because we haven't done anything past tonight.
I suspect you'll have some vendors.
We
Want to
can
do it, and
move
then,
forward to the next step.
and then we can meet with Jay this week. or
You
next week.
get with Jay in the morning and
Yeah.
work out the details, and the board, and we, yeah, okay?
And thank you for not doing anything until you ask permission.
I got a
Oh,
question
by-
for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Just a comment from the chair. Y'all buying that fire truck with the proceeds that I looked at this afternoon?
Okay, well, Mr. Mayor, and I'm not
Go
trying to
ahead.
be, I'm not trying to
Yes.
be a Grinch. But any vendor will have to comply
Yeah.
with city
Yes.
regulations.
That's why you need to see him in the morning, work out the details.
Well, hold up now. If it's a town-approved event, if it's a town-approved event, there's never been any charges in the past, just like the Spring Fest.
Legal.
I mean, I would have to go back and read the ordinance that was passed, but, I think you're right.
I mean, that's what allowed us to have the Spring Fest this year, because a precedent had been made that no vendors had ever had to comply, regardless of what the fee was, as long as it was a town-approved event.
I will rephrase what I'll say. You need to visit with Jay and Jay will visit the city, and we'll make sure everything's right tomorrow, okay?
It'll be Monday, but yes.
Yes, all right?
Hold on. Is there any way y'all can have a chili cook-off or something during that time and invite people?
Well, with it being such a short notice, we haven't really figured out what we can and can't do yet. We figured 20 people being invited, 20 booths would give us an idea of what our union, because we're a young union, we're small, we only got 12 members. So us trying to do everything on our own, we're trying to get our feet
Yeah,
wet
we
and
can
trying
start
to
small and build.
start small. That way, if say in the spring, this goes well, and we want to help with the Spring Fest and do
Okay.
further on.
All right, hold up a second. Mr. Fisher,
The
and then
best-
Mr. Hahn.
The
Mr. Fisher.
best answer is you're gonna have to go to Jay, because we passed an ordinance, we deleted an ordinance, we did all kinds of crazy things for Spring Fest, okay? Jay and Tom Minor will be the ones who will ultimately have to say after they come and figure out what went on.
Well,
Okay.
we had to ask y'all before we could ask them.
Exactly.
So that's what we're
You're-
trying to do.
You're at the point you need to be.
Okay.
Mr. Hahn.
I can answer his question kind of in front of you guys. We looked into, me and Ms. Harris, the chili cook-off, and due to the COVID restrictions
Okay.
for the insurance that would take, it was kind of a no-go.
Okay, that's good.
Just because of the COVID stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody likes chili and everybody likes cooking, right?
Yeah.
That makes
Nobody
sense.
wants to go.
That
Nobody
makes,
wants cooking.
that makes sense.
Okay. Clear understanding?
Yes, sir.
Get with Jay tomorrow, Monday.
Monday.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I had a great stop today.
All right, anybody else with request to speak? All right, I will declare that section of our meeting closed. Now, comments from the mayor. I would like to I have one brief comment tonight. Mr. Johnson, Ms. Yvonne, I am declaring tomorrow Kelly Rector Day in Oakland, and I would like a proclamation prepared for that event. Okay? 2 copies. Need 2 copies if you don't mind, so we can give one to the family. All right, and that is the only comment I have tonight.
Could we maybe do this at the next meeting and invite either one of the 2 kids to come up here and do that?
Yeah, we could do the proclamation tomorrow and then have a framed copy for
That you can give the copy to them, but tomorrow will be the day.
Okay, that's fine.
We could take them tomorrow if Miss Yvonne had them.
Yeah, I
In
know
the
some of
morning.
us
I
are
don't know if
going to
she
the
had
funeral
time.
tomorrow, so.
We'll see what we can do about that. Okay, see what we can do about that. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Have any comments from the alderman?
Yes.
Mr. Vice Mayor Sutton?
And I don't know if y'all are aware, but the phase 1 we passed for the wastewater treatment plant, it looks like that it's gonna take a little longer than what we would like. But I talked to Mr. Ellis. We have to manage this wastewater. And so there's a valve that has to be physically turned. There has to be some computer management on getting the water out of town. And as y'all know, we just run one shift. Mr. Ellis seems to think that with TDEC, that the more you do, the more that they work with you and try to help you along in your progress. But I just want to propose that we see if Mr. Ellis has an employee that would accept a shift differential pay. Your peak water time is, of course, early in the morning. Well, they've got people there getting ready, but the peak water time, he tells me, is between 5 and 10 at night. People get home, they're cooking, washing clothes, taking showers, things like that, so 5 or 10. But I really think we need somebody working till at least 10 o'clock at night. And I think that the board ought to, with Mr. Johnson, he can handle it. He does it, but I think it would be a very good idea. And I guess the only thing that, and I don't know if, I think you would even be able to do the shift differential pay without the board's approval, wouldn't you? If the money is allocated in the budget?
If the money's allocated and we're, at least at this point, calling it temporary, I know at some point it probably needs to be permanent, but during this interim period anyway, yes, I could probably do that.
But I think it's time that we move on that.
Okay, one more, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two comments. One, I would like to say good job to the Oakland Fire Department. They had a structure fire today, got there in a timely fashion, and did a great job on stopping that fire. That whole house could have been burned down. I looked at the house personally, and they did a phenomenal job. I'm proud of these guys. They do a great job. Second, this is October. We've had 3 events throughout the month of October. The fire truck rally and the motorcycle show. It was a huge success. I wasn't able to attend that one. Last weekend we had the Witches Parade and movies. Ms. Harris, great job. Per her count, we had about 300 people down at Cypress Creek Park. We have 2 more events left for the month. People are starting to support this stuff, and everybody I talked to said this is what they've been wanting. It's been a great month for Oakland.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Harvey,
Yes, sir.
would you please get information to Jay, Mr. Johnson, and work on that sheriff differential, I think, and see if TDOT, just do what you need to do.
Yes, sir, of course.
All right.
Could I ask a question real quick?
Yes, sir.
Has the town, I've had a bunch of calls, has the town decided or does it decide what night they're doing trick or treating?
That's the police chief, and I believe it is going to be the 31st,
It has
Sunday.
been published.
It has been published.
Sunday night?
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, I believe in the paper, every town I saw, all are doing it on the 31st, isn't that right? Yeah.
I know we're getting a lot of calls on that.
Now, if that interferes with any of our town people, we are offering this weekend a trunk or treat
Yeah.
at Cypress Creek Park, so they can come down and get candy if it interferes with churches or anything. I understand that.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the board? All right, we'll move on then. Department chairs. Any department chair have a comment or report? Mr. Johnson?
If I may, I'd like 2 comments, please. First, our new Director of Planning and Community Development. This is his first meeting with you, Ed Coton. Ed's here.
Don't stand up, you bump your head.
Welcome, Ed. May you stay a long time and enjoy it.
Chief Walls, I'd like to ask Chief Walls a question
Chief Wall.
or a comment. Yes, sir. And this is not a criticism of anybody, it's a question. I was at the mayor and I actually were at the county commission meeting last month. And the ambulance service director, in his report, and I could be off my number slightly, but I believe he said there were 41 instances where all of the staffed available ambulances were committed. He also said there were, I think he said 5 instances where calls were holding out of those 41. My question to you is that having any impact on your department and the services? Are your crews being tied up waiting on ambulances?
Yes, if when the incident does happen, we stand by and we treat the patient until an ambulance is available. The way the ambulance service does it, and a lot of this was caused by the COVID, but this, with hospital overcrowding, the ambulances just can't offload. So they're stuck at the hospital. We have 4 to 5 ambulances in the county at any given time. Once those ambulances get to the hospital, they have to stay with the patient until that patient is able to be moved over, which may be 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, very common. Once we get on the scene, we continue patient care until an ambulance is released, they can come back from Memphis, or they get a hold of Shelby County, see if Shelby County Fire will make the call, or if Hardin County or somebody else can come in. So yes, it could be a pretty substantial time we're on the scene.
All right. Thank you. Any other administrators, department chairs reports? Anyone have a report they want to make available? Okay.
I got a question for Park and Rec.
All right, Parks and Rec. Ms. Torrey, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
Would you come to the podium, please? Mr. Cates has a question.
I had talked to you, I'd asked you this question earlier, but what are we doing for the Christmas parade and when?
The Christmas parade is scheduled for December the 11th at 4 p.m. I've reached out to the Tennessee Department of Transportation coordinating the road closure permit. I've reached out to Oakland Police to get working on the traffic flow plan. The advertisement, I call it a save the date flyer of the Christmas parade date, will be in Shop Local magazine that hits mailboxes the first week of November. And that's pretty much where we're at.
Do we have a backup date for this?
We do not have a rain date.
Could we not do one and get permission, if one is not worked, to close it straight again on another date?
It's on the agenda if you,
Huh?
it's on the agenda report on Christmas parade planning,
Oh, okay,
14C.
okay, sorry.
Okay. Thank you, George. I think she's pretty well made a report.
Oh, that's a lot to talk about.
I understand. All right, any other department chair? Okay, moving on. Consent agenda. Take a motion when the board's ready on the consent agenda. Oh, excuse me, I missed one. Let me back up. Town manager's report. You have one?
Nothing further tonight.
Okay, all right, now then, moving to the consent agenda, I'll take a motion when the board is ready.
I make a motion.
Have a motion from Mr. Fisher to accept the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Does anybody want to remove and discuss anything from the consent agenda?
Need a second.
Does anybody want to remove anything and discuss anything from the consent agenda?
Anybody got something they want to talk about?
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Under old business. We have a second final reading on ordinance 2119. Need a motion to open the meeting, open the public hearing on ordinance 2119.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
This ordinance allocates $600,000 from the sewer fund, unallocated fund balance to our capital projects, our line item in that department. This is how we're paying for the Phase 1 renovations to the wastewater treatment plant.
We looking at resolution 21-101.
Ordinance 2119, sir.
2119.
the hearing unless somebody got a question. All right, we'll close the public hearing since there seem to be no questions. Need a motion from the board.
Motion here, ordinance 2119.
Motion to hear ordinance 2119. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay,
Who made the second, please?
I did.
Frank.
get a motion to adopt. All questions if you have it.
Motion to approve 2119.
Have a motion to approve 2119 by Vice Mayor Sutton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second for Mr. Mr. Duncan. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on. Need a motion to approve Resolution 2196, authorizing bid award to Fowler Paving, clarifying choice of our bid base plus add alternates.
Motion to hear.
Motion, have a motion to hear. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Jay?
Gentlemen, at your meeting last month, you approved the contract with Fowler Paving, but unfortunately, there was no reference to the amount to be awarded. As said in this ordinance, it was a base bid plus an add alternate. It is the recommendation of the city engineer and the staff that we take the base bid plus the add alternate, and that totals $466,728.63 specifically.
What all does this cover?
The streets are listed here. Harvey, you can probably help me.
Riverdale, Garden Springs Drive.
I got it.
Chickasaw Garden subdivision. Now,
Southland,
that's being paid
Chickasaw.
through the bond.
The streets that were bid were Riverdale, west of Burke Road. We had Garden Springs Drive. And we had Southwind subdivision phase 1. Chickasaw Gardens subdivision. And the additive alternate was Riverdale Drive extended, that's the east of Burke Road. That's the complete list.
Is that include the two they're working on over there now?
No, sir.
That's in a previous contract.
That's
They
previous.
did work over there today.
I know, I've been over there the last 2 days.
No, that, if I may, Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
the work that's happening now in, is it the Fields?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
In the field subdivision is the final work under the contract this board awarded back in 2020. It's just now getting done, but no, this is all new work here.
was that Standard that bid on that,
Yes, sir.
and they subcontracted it out after they bid it?
Yes, sir. Well, they subcontracted out this work. The rest of it they did.
But after they bid it, they still subcontracted it out, right?
Yes, sir.
Can we not do something if they bid on these things that they're responsible for?
Well,
Instead of
we-
subcontract, if they don't want it, why would they bid on it?
well, I can't answer that. I think we could, but in this instance,
I know we're 2 years behind on
yeah,
it.
and we approved the substitution because it was a contractor we're familiar with, it's a reputable contractor, it's contracted in this area, and we wanted to get it done. Certainly, I think if any vendor tried to substitute a contractor that we did not feel comfortable with, we'd protest that. But we felt in this instance, letting them subcontract out was in our best interest.
Best I can remember, Fowler was the second bid on that didn't get it, right?
Now, that was before my time, I can't answer that.
Wasn't it, Mr. Sutton?
I don't know.
I think they were the second bid, so they got overlooked for Standard, now they end up subtracting it back to them.
I don't think that's correct. If
I don't know.
Harvey, you can stop me, but if I can remember correctly, Fowler Paving did not carry a big enough bond to
Is
bid
that what
that
it was?
900 and something thousand.
That's
And
why I
so
remember that now, that's
We
what it
were
was.
conscrewed to taking,
Yeah, Standard.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
Question. So even if it's a sub doing the work, the warranty doesn't change, correct?
No,
No, it has to meet our standards.
So if they're no good, they still have to fix it, even if it's not the company that's awarded the bid.
Now, I want to be fair, I don't know what Fowler's and Standard's arrangement is.
Well,
but
it'll be fixed.
there'll be a warranty period.
I can
yes.
tell you this, when we had trouble the last time they did paving here, there was a problem down there on that street in Oakland Woods. Harvey contacted them, they come back there and
Redid the
tore that
whole
out, and
code.
redid the whole road and made it right.
They did that.
That's what I can tell you.
Yes, sir, I'm comfortable with it.
As long as we're covered, I don't care who does it. Need to fix our roads.
Is it, who's checking behind them to make sure this is right
King Engineering has an inspector on the job,
on all of it?
as well as new construction, same guy.
So when will we start now? You named the streets that we're paving, when are we gonna start fixing some of the other streets?
Our plan is, and it goes back to the vice mayor's comment, one of the things we're gonna do this year is try to do 3 bid packages and keep the amount below $500,000. We think that will expand the possibility of bidders.
I appreciate all this discussion, but ain't none of y'all brave enough voting against paving these roads. I don't really know what we're waiting on.
We,
Mr. Gates, right.
we will come back to this board probably, and I'll say December, with bid package number 2 that we can bid in January, award in February, and hopefully they can start on bid package 2 in March. And then we'll come back with a 3rd package before the end of the year.
When we doing that, can we set a deadline for they start and finish and like not leave like they did over here before?
We've got all that in the contract.
Yes, and I don't
that they
know if
bid on.
I don't know if I copied the board or not, but actually, I think it was you, Mr. Gates, raised that question to me recently. I sent an email to Ken King asking that we be very specific in future contracts on the time frame for completion. But I tell you, it's difficult right now to digress for 30 seconds. The wastewater treatment plant renovation has a 10-month completion schedule.
Look, guys, we put out this for bid, we got the bids in, we approved it. We found it so important to do paving, we borrowed $800,000 additional dollars to do additional paving, and we're sitting here discussing about paving roads. I don't understand it.
Make a motion.
Motion for, resolution 2186.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have a motion by Mr. Duncan, second Mr. Hahn. All in favor? All right, moving on. All right, under new business, we have first readings of ordinances. Ordinance 2120, amending city code, Title 3, Chapter 2. Need a motion to hear that? Need a motion to hear?
So moved.
Have a motion from Vice Mayor, have a second.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Hahn. Mr. J.
As the board is well aware, one of our audit findings related to traffic court fines and the unpaid balance. This is the first of 2 actions we're requesting of the board. This ordinance provides authorization for the collection of court fees and court fines by a third-party collection agency under contract with the city. If this ordinance is approved, we will come back next month with a contract with a firm to begin the effort to collect outstanding court fines and court fees. We have left a lot of money on the table.
They do that on a percentage?
Yes,
What percent?
40.
So we only get half of what we're gonna go at 60%?
We get 60%. That is the same arrangement we have with the collection agency that does the water billing delinquencies.
Is that standard?
So we don't have anything to lose.
Yeah. Motion to approve ordinance 2120.
Have a motion by, you just accept the first reading on this, right?
That's correct.
All right, we're just accepting the first reading. Do we even have to have a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a motion from Mr. Hahn to accept the first reading. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second, Vice Mayor Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to ordinance 2121, amending the zoning map by adopting a general development plan, Hickory Witt Estates for R1 PD-R of 59.06 acres. Have a motion to hear.
So moved.
Have a motion from Vice Mayor Sutton, have a second? Have a second from Mr. Fisher, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. J.
This is a, ordinance recommended by the planning commission. It's a 49 lot R1, plan new development on Forest Edge Drive, north of Highway 64. That's the one where there was such discussion about the gas line going through the property.
Okay, that's over.
This is first reading, your public hearing would be at your November meeting.
Okay.
That's the one that runs parallel with 194, over by the church.
No.
It don't come that far up, but it's over in that area, right?
My neighborhood.
Yeah. But it's north of y'all.
No. Well, yeah, it's the end of the street.
It's your neighborhood?
Yeah.
It's the end of the current dead-end street, and the
Okay.
property, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, sir, go
This
ahead.
created some discussion at the planning commission. I think you're all aware, the first 1,000 feet is in the city. And there's approximately another 1,000 feet, or
Yeah.
maybe a little more,
A little more.
that is in the county. And then this property was already annexed into the city years ago. And that is the request for the subdivision, is that property.
We have a gentleman here, if he wants to speak on it.
Lee, do you have any questions?
Okay. I don't.
Are you going to be widening the road out?
No, we don't need it. Gentlemen, the public discussion on this comes with the second reading. So we need to, public discussion comes with this at the second reading, if you don't mind. Mr. Fisher jumped the gun on us a little bit there. If you would. All right. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2121.
Have a motion to approve 2121 by Vice Mayor Sutton. Have a second. Have a second from Mr. Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving on. Under new business, resolution 210109, authorizing bid solicitation for new boilers
Hold
road.
on, E 2122.
22.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm trying to get through. All right, ordinance 2122 to amend the adopted budget ordinance of the town of Oakland, Tennessee for fiscal year 2122, special funds. Have a motion to hear.
So moved.
Have a motion from Mr. Hahn. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Duncan. All in favor? Mr. J.
This ordinance creates a new capital projects fund account for the $800,000 that we borrowed for the road improvements. And then when this money has been expended, probably by June 30th of next year, this account will be closed out. It's a budget line item. It's not a bank account, a budget line item. The alternative, I'll share with you, the alternative is to do a budget amendment within the general fund, but because this is capital project work, it is our recommendation to be a special funds allocation.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2122.
Have a motion from Vice Mayor Sutton to approve ordinance 2122. Have a second.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Hahn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now moving on. Resolution. Have a motion to hear resolution 210109, authorizing bid solicitation for New Bowers Road Park Phase 1 and site improvements.
Motion to hear.
Motion to hear by Vice Mayor Sutton. Have a second.
Second.
Second for Mr. Duncan. Mr. J.
Mr. Dean Thomas with DT Studios is here to answer any questions you might have. This is authorization to go out to bid on the site preparation, the dirt work for phases 1 and 2 of our new park. Phases 1 and 2 are the 5 soccer fields and the 6 ball fields? 8 ball fields. I want to emphasize this is dirt work only. We would come back to this board in the spring with the bid authorization request to bid the actual improvements at the park. But this is the first step. And you'll recall, you made a decision months ago to break this out with the idea that we thought we might get more interest if we bid just a dirt work, that contractors might be more interested in that.
Any questions?
Make a motion.
Have a motion for Mr. Fisher to accept. Second?
Second.
Have a second for Mr. Hine. All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
One comment here. We were going to have a public hearing on this park project. Did we set a date for that?
We're gonna have to double check. We were looking at the 11th, but that's a holiday, so we're gonna have to pick another date.
Okay, so any of you would be interested in attending a public hearing, we will get it out on the website and other publications. Okay, where are we at?
10.
2110. Resolution 21-110, authorizing a solid waste collection service contract with Team Waste Incorporated, effective January 3rd, 2020. Have a motion to hear.
Make a motion to hear it.
Have a motion, Mr. Cates. Have a second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Hine. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. J.
We bid our solid waste collection services for residential collection on September 28th. We had 2 bids. One was from our current provider, and the other was from a firm called Team Waste. Team Waste was the low bid. We have done reference checks with other cities and had positive references, and the staff would recommend the award to Team Waste. This is for a 2-year contract, and then there are options to extend for years 3, 4, and 5 at set prices. But our obligation, or their obligation, is a 2-year contract.
They're gonna be providing the same service we're currently.
Yes, and the transition will be somewhat difficult, I wanna say that, because our current provider will pick up the cans at the end of their contract, and Team Waste will provide new cans at the beginning of their contract. And all this is gonna happen over the Christmas holidays.
Would it be out of line for you to explain the difference in the price on those two?
It's here, I mean,
I saw it, but I didn't know people in
What
the
are we
audience.
paying now?
Our current contract, and I don't have the exact amount, sir, but it's right at $13.
$13.69, I think.
And this one, and our contract now wants to go up to $17.59.
That's what the current provider offered.
They already jumped $5.
What this does for this board and for the citizens of Oakland, I can sit here tonight and say, unless you decide otherwise, we can keep the solid waste rates the constant for 2 years.
The same rate we got
Same
now?
rate we're paying now for 2 years.
That's what I was getting at.
And same service.
Same service.
I don't, were they at the bid opening, both companies?
Yes,
Yes.
and there was actually a third company that bid opening, but they didn't bid.
I mean, did they give a reason for a 40-something% increase?
Not that I heard of.
Not that I heard of, no.
$5 a can.
So this contract, they're going down $1 and they're going up $5. That's,
Yeah, I'm glad we had somebody else bid.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's the reason I ask you that question. People in the audience don't have this paper that we do.
Okay,
I make a motion to approve and accept the low bidder.
have a motion from Vice Mayor Sutton. Have a second. Second, Mr. Hine. All in favor?
aye.
Okay. Moving on, resolution 21-111, authorizing a professional service agreement with Cannon and Cannon Engineering. Motion to hear?
Make a motion to hear 21-111.
Have a motion for Mr. Cates, have a second for Mr. Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. J.
This is a standard contract professional service agreement, essentially as a retainer. As you know, what this board does now with King Engineering, you approve each individual project or work order or whatever with King. This would allow us to do the same procedure, but use Cannon on some projects. The board would still approve any project that's authorized.
And we're still keeping King.
And we're still keeping King. We are not unhappy with King Engineering. I don't want to,
Who?
okay.
I was gonna say,
Who's
Who
we?
ain't?
That's what I wanna know.
two of us have been arguing this
Well,
for a while.
Okay. Let me
Three.
put it this way. We will continue to use King Engineering on the projects for which they've been engaged.
Okay,
This is looking to the future to diversify our consulting engineer portfolio.
You said something, I wanna say something. King Engineering was brought in here in 2017, and he was asked, Mr. Ellis, you were in the meeting, he was asked where we stood on wastewater treatment plant on capacity. He said, don't worry about it for 10 more years. Now, here we are in 2020, and we're facing a crisis. And this board's getting blamed for it every day on social media that we were aware that there was a problem before now. And we wasn't, because Ken King Engineering said we didn't have a problem. And he said it right there, and we still are contracting this man to give us advice for this town. I'm not happy with him, and I'll be glad to say it.
Well,
Is that, the
I'm
rest
not
of y'all
happy with
it?
him either.
The-
I think he has slapped us on the hand a few times on some stuff he said and done. For what we paying him, he shouldn't
I'm
be
tired of getting
giving
blamed
false
for Ken
information.
King's advice.
Gentlemen, I think that Mr. Johnson heard you say that loud and clear earlier, and that is why we are bringing this contracted service agreement to you tonight, as we start the process of looking at other engineering firms.
Motion to approve?
second.
Have a motion to approve, have a second, Mr. Fisher, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolution 21112, authorizing mayor to execute agreement with Verizon through the state of Tennessee for cell phone service. Have a motion to hear.
Motion here.
Have a motion, Mr. Cates, have a second?
Second.
Have a second, Mr. Hine. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. J?
the current agreement we have with Verizon through a national purchasing association has expired, and we have to move either to an agreement with the national association or through the state of Tennessee contract. Yvonne and I met with Verizon a couple of weeks ago, and it was our opinion to this board that going to the state of Tennessee contract is probably our best option. It would increase our plan cost from $800 a month to $903 a month, roughly $1,200 a month. And we currently have, and the police chief or the fire chief could help me on this, we have 28 phones under this contract, but we also have 11 of those emergency access phones for disasters.
Sorry, I missed
The
that.
emergency phones we have with Verizon,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. Talk about that.
They gave us some free phones, but, you know, it was, the first time was several years ago. They updated them maybe a year or so ago. We talk about the emergency phones that we got plugged in back there. Really not much to tell about. We just got them plugged in, have never used them, so.
But they're available.
They are available, yeah.
And they have priority on the tower security.
Okay,
Moses,
all right, thank you.
so,
Entertain a motion.
Oh, they don't do a test run?
No, that's our other friends that are doing that. That's a very good question, sir.
Mr. Duncan woke me up over there. He does that every once in a while.
Motion to approve?
Have a motion, Mr. Hine, to approve.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Fisher. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Resolution 21113, authorizing Bower Road inspections, professional services. Motion to hear.
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Hine.
Second.
Have a second, Mr. Duncan. Mr. J?
This is a proposed agreement with King Engineering to do the construction inspections on Bowers Road. I will say this. King Engineering has been the consultant as we've gone through this process on Bowers Road. But if we wanted to make a change, now's the time to make it.
Now's to make it.
But again, this project, this one with Bowers Road, the developer designed the road, his engineer. King Engineering reviewed and approved it. Ken King Engineering has been involved in evaluation of the bids for that. Again, it's the private sector doing that, and we have a not-to-exceed cost reimbursement. But this contract tonight is to inspect the road on our behalf during construction. That Ken King Engineering would be logical, but without question, Cannon could do it. I would not say otherwise. They could do the inspection.
I'd say let's give them a shot at it and see what kind of work they do there.
First job, I like that.
Is this the 12-inch pipe?
No, sir, this is the road. This is the road.
It's just the road.
This is just the road. I could, at your next meeting, I come back with a proposal from Cannon. And we have time. They haven't started this work yet.
I would like to see that happen.
We have a motion
Well,
to
it's
table.
Cannon.
I make the motion that we
Let's see what Cannon comes up with.
I like that.
go ahead and talk to both of them and see what Jay
Yeah.
or the board want.
Have a motion to table for Mr. Cates. Have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Hine. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. J, you can bring that back to us next month. All right, other items, consideration of business items. A, authorize mayor and town manager to proceed with identifying financing of park improvements.
You just authorized bidding for phases 1 and 2. I would ask that you authorize the mayor and I to pursue a bond or a capital outlay note to pay for that work. And what we're looking at, the process would work if it stays on schedule. At your December meeting, you would have the resolution on to issue the debt, and you would have the resolution to award the bid. But to do that, it's going to take a special meeting. It may take 2 special meetings to get the financing in place. Based upon the estimated cost from the engineer, I'm proposing we look at a $6 million bond issue payable over 20 years, and the funds would be from the penny sales tax dedicated to the park. This should have no budget impact of additional funds. The debt can be paid through the dedicated sales tax.
You're just borrowing money to pay it up front,
Yes, sir,
and then we're still gonna pay the $800,000 per year for the next 10 years.
20 years.
Well, the 1 cent was only approved for 10 years.
I know.
So how do we rectify that? We've got 10 years past.
You'll either have to have a referendum to extend it
Now,
or,
in 10 years, I may be dead.
That's
I don't feel good obligating, the town for another 10 years past my death.
well, okay, there's 2 ways to address that.
But I'm not lying, am I?
No,
Okay.
but there's 2 ways to address that. It is very common for government to issue long-term bonds. 20, some governments go 30 years.
I can give you some better math on that if you want it.
Okay,
So 6.5 million over 20 years is about $325,000 a year. The half cent is raising between $700,000 and $800,000 a year. So it would far surpass being enough funds by that half cent in 10 years to pay for the bond in 20.
no, I have to disagree with you. We're going to need to borrow money to finish the park.
That's right.
And so that will take the other half. Your calculation is correct. I don't disagree with your calculation. But this $6 million just does the prep, the site prep.
But we still gotta borrow.
Well, that ain't your biggest worry on this, if that's what you're counting on, because your biggest worry is they pass it countywide and you lose 50% of that when that happens.
That'd bring us down about 400,000 a year.
That's
Well-
exactly right.
We are gonna borrow money in a few years, and we're gonna have to add to that. And then we're gonna have to borrow it just to finish. phase 3
Here's
and
my
4.
big problem with this right now, guys, and I'm just gonna tell you, okay? I got wants in one hand, and I got needs in the other.
That's what I
We're sitting here with a wastewater program that's an absolute need. We have got to give our customers a place to flush their toilets and their water to go. From the rumors I'm hearing, it's gonna be far more expensive than what we thought, and we're gonna have to borrow money on that. If we tie up all our bond rating and borrow money for this park, for our wants, then what are we gonna do about getting money for our needs if we have to borrow money on that wastewater treatment plant? And that's my dilemma on it.
Mr.
Mr. Mayor, we need to reconsider authorization to bid this project. We don't need to bid this project if we're not prepared. We cannot pay for it.
Do we have a cost estimate on the wastewater
Yes,
treatment
it's
plant?
on the wastewater.
Wastewater.
You're gonna talk about that next week. But I've got several numbers, but one number's as high as 17 million.
How did it go up so much from 7,
That is
8?
one of my questions, sir. That is one of my.
They quoted
get
that
back
to
to
us
this
at
now.
7, 8 million, now they're 17, that's more than double.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, let's get back to the subject at hand, gentlemen.
The consultant will be at your meeting next Thursday night, which is later on the agenda.
I make a motion to table this.
Second.
Have a motion to table.
Mr. Mayor, do we go out to bid?
That's,
No.
I'm getting ready to,
No, right?
wait a minute, wait a minute.
Well, let's talk about it.
Well, I'm trying to, y'all just let me. Okay. We need further direction from the board on going out for bid. If you're not gonna pay for it, we're not gonna be able to go out for bid.
Can we
And
table
you've
it?
already approved that.
Well,
I think
then why was this proposed backwards?
he made a
Because
motion.
resolutions in the order of the
Well,
agenda,
that makes no sense.
that's
Put
what the
them in
charter,
order that we're gonna
the
work it.
charter sets for the order of the agenda.
But he made a motion to table it to next month. Do we have to do this tonight?
No.
We can table it.
So why can't we table it till next month till we can get figures on our water plant?
I'm just saying, if you tie up your bond money, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're only good for so much borrowing.
That is correct.
And so if we don't know if we can afford to pay cash, I know dadgum well we can't pay 17 million. And so I'm just saying that we got needs and wants, and we need to take care of our needs first. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
And I understand that. We also have tax money set aside for this park. It has to be used for that park, am I not correct?
That is correct.
But it's not going anywhere for another month. You make a motion to table it to next month.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with getting bids, because first of all, I think that the estimates, and I wouldn't even bring them up in public for people to hear, but I think they're outrageous. I don't think it'll cost half of what they're proposing to do that dirt work down there.
So it is the wishes of the board that we get the bids and bring them back to you at the next
Here's
meeting.
what we're saying though, y'all. We're saying right here, we approved to get the bids on the dirt work. But now we're trying to approve for the max amount on the, before we ever know how much it's gonna cost.
That's what makes sense.
I want to correct one thing there. The board would adopt, under the bond issuance procedures, you will adopt an initial resolution with a not-to-exceed amount. At the final resolution, you would adopt a resolution setting the actual amount of the issuance. So, let's say you put the initial resolution at X. The bids come in good, then your final resolution would be Y. You would be less, but your initial resolution would be a not-to-exceed amount.
Well, it ain't gonna cost us anything to get the bids, is it?
Sure.
How much?
Advertising.
Advertising, evaluation.
Roughly, ballpark figure.
Oh, I'm sure less than $2,000. Maybe less than $3,000, but
Make a motion to table it.
That's already made.
It's already been made, the
I
motion to
second the
table.
motion.
We have a second?
I
All in
second.
favor?
It's already got a second.
Yeah, I already seconded.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize
That's
about the
okay.
second.
No
I
problem, Mr.
apologize. On there. Have a second from Mr. Hahn, all in favor? Okay. Moving on to C, we've had a semi-report on the Christmas parade, but I think there's some further discussion. Ms. Torrey, would you mind coming up?
B.
No, D was tabled.
yeah, B was pulled. B was what I
was
pulled.
pulled.
You were over there. You were over there.
All right, Ms. Torrey, you want to review quickly what you talked about earlier, and then we may have some questions for you.
Christmas parade is scheduled for December the 11th at 4 p.m. It's the second Saturday of December. That'll be advertised in Shop Local magazine in the issue that hits mailboxes the first week of November. I'm working with Tennessee Department of Transportation to coordinate the road closure permit for 64 and portions of 194, the same route as it's always been. Yeah, did I hit everything?
Go back to that backup date. If you have to use a backup date, when you're going through the Tennessee to block that road, could you not get a permit for that day if it's rained or something, or do they have to
It
do
would
it?
require submitting a second road closure permit request along with a second traffic flow plan, which if you close the same portion of the road, your traffic flow plan would be the same.
I do have an idea for that, though. That if that happened on a rainout date, you could take property we already own, okay? Let's take the industrial park that does a loop, okay? So you could do that, and you could actually have a drive-through right there. So you could put the parade still in the industrial park, and then
Right.
people could ride through and actually look at all the stuff that would be in the parade
Like a
on a
static
rainout
parade.
day. And that way you wouldn't have to do it, but it would be a steel parade.
It's also worth mentioning that we go through Tennessee Department of Transportation to coordinate highways. So if we wanted to adjust it to maybe pick a neighborhood or something on our streets, we could do that on our end without any state oversight, should we have a rainout day.
That answer your question, Mr. Case?
Yeah, as long as we got a backup date, because that's something
Okay.
we've never done before. We
Well,
eat that.
my concern is, as we had discussed, because I think a lot of our non-participation for floats and things are most Christmas parades are done at night.
Yep.
And people put lights on them, and and so we don't have that. Now, we close our highway down in midday, prime time traffic at 4 o'clock. Why couldn't we do this thing at night?
As I understand it from the past, it's been pretty similar to this time. There was also late getting it scheduled, where it conflicted with others later in the afternoon, which limits your participants, people who are participating in the others that they're already committed to because their date was set well in advance.
Who?
I think Whiteville
Whiteville.
specifically is on the 11th.
So we in Oakland, Tennessee, is worried about 500 people in Whiteville?
Hey,
Yeah, well.
I'm just giving you information I've been given. Again, we were.
Do you have any idea, when do Collierville or Arlington or Lakeland, do you have any ideas when they hold their parades? I don't.
I know Millington's is the first Saturday of December, but I don't have dates on the.
I wanna have it at night where you can have lights and,
Can we move it to later in the day?
we ain't
Is
submitted a
this set in
permit yet, have we?
stone? Is this set in stone? No, right?
No permits
When
missing?
you submit to TDOT,
Right.
I mean, you're just talking about moving it to 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I mean, people have time to get home from work then, and
The road closure request letter has been sent to TDOT. The advertisement has been put out. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible to change.
TDOT, we could probably get the time changed. I don't know about the deadline on the publication. Any idea, no idea when we might?
The deadline of publication is passed. So,
publication,
of Shop Local magazine. So it will be publicized. Actually, I might correct myself, I'm not sure that the time is on there, I think it's just the date.
well, the Shop Local magazine is coming out,
The first week of November.
When you say evening, you're thinking 6 o'clock?
dark, where you can see Christmas lights.
Time will change, time's gonna change, and it'll be dark an hour earlier.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, it'll be dark at 5.
Chief, does that make any difference on traffic control from your end?
we still have to shut the highway down, no matter what time.
I just, Christmas parades are supposed to have Christmas lights in them. And we,
I agree.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
agree with that too. It's a better look.
Well,
you-
can you do that tomorrow?
No, sir, I don't think I can get that done tomorrow. I do have I guess a request to the board, 'cause this is kind of the second time this has happened, that I've stood up here to plan something to the best of my ability, and then I get some last minute changes. I'm a planner, I plan ahead, so these conversations would be really nice to have,
Last
months
month.
in advance to be able to execute versus,
And I would say to you that that in the future, you know that we're gonna have questions and possibilities, so you may wanna come to us 45 days earlier, or set up a master calendar for the year.
We probably need this in August or September on
well,
the board
I
agenda.
plan on working in that timeframe, so.
we can't go by what we've done in the past. Things is changing.
So
People has changed.
but I would like to I'm gonna make a challenge tonight. I'm gonna say that the board is gonna have a float in this parade. I challenge the board members to assist on that, and let's work together and let's have one. And I challenge every other department head to work on getting a float in this parade. And, I will be glad to help in the logistics of it if anybody needs any trailers or anything, but let's give them something to remember. Let's be the leader here. Let's not expect people to make our stuff for us. Let's get our hands dirty and try to help Tori make this a success.
I like it.
So 6 PM?
I'd say 5. It's gonna be dark around 5.
True.
5:15, the sun's.
Yeah, that's fine.
But your
Remember that
point on people, probably 6 is better.
To get people.
6 is
home
fine.
from work.
Yeah, well, people do things.
I
They
need
play
a motion.
ball, they do things.
What's the
Is this
motion? What
is
time you wanna do it?
Is this a motionable?
If it's possible though, we don't know if that's, is it possible?
I mean, I can explore the options to see, because like I said, the road closure, permit letter has been sent.
Right, but can I ask you a question? If you could send 2 letters for this date and another one for this date, can you do both for the same date, just different times? So it'll be closed later?
Daylight saving time is on November the 6th this year.
Does the letter go to Nashville or go to Jackson to the regional office?
I'll be glad to reach out to Representative Ron Gant and Senator Paige Watley to see if they can help us on this TDOT letter.
I don't think we need to go,
I
I don't think we need to go there yet.
anticipate it being a problem, but
Okay.
I don't think we need to go that far yet.
I'd be glad to do it.
All right, how do we resolve this? What's the resolution here? What are we doing?
May I suggest?
Yes, sir, please.
You
do.
have a special meeting next Thursday night. It's not on the agenda, but at the end of that meeting, Tori could give you a report on what she's found out about time and TDOT.
That agreeable to the board?
That's fair.
Okay, we'll, Ms. Troy, thank you very much. Sorry for the,
Well,
Same, just moving on.
I did have another thing.
okay.
I know we approved to give the Fayette County Chamber,
7,300.
yes, have we reached out to them to see if they wanna help us on this? Reach out to some people?
I can do that.
I want to be clear that we need a lot of help. I'm one person.
Well, we'll reach out to the county chamber, that's why we pay them.
I was told the other day that they'd be willing to help us do anything we wanted to if Mr. Jay'd give them a call.
All right, well,
May I follow up on your
Go ahead.
suggestion? Rather than have individual departments do a float, what if we got a large tractor trailer and had a city employee float? I personally think that might be better than.
it's a challenge, I mean, the department heads can do what they want to with it.
I want to
It's,
challenge the police department.
yeah. And the fire department.
I'm coming at it from a different angle. This is an opportunity for the departments to cooperate with each other, not a silo, but as a team.
Then the fire department.
Or they could compete against each other.
Well, then you're just gonna have one float.
Well, I can go further with yours, Mr. J. If everybody still wants to do individual departments, put them in the parade all
And
together,
then put the
one
employees
behind
on
the
one,
other.
maybe that's what admin does, is offer a employee float. since you're in charge of that department.
I know the veterans are gonna have a float.
You
But
can-
I'm just
You
saying-
can have that, and then all the employees can get on your float, and then the fire chief can ride a horse or something.
No, I'm
Now
just,
we have some good suggestions.
I'm just saying though, if we got 5 different floats from the town, line them up one behind the other.
I hear you,
bunch of
I hear you
floats.
on that, I hear you on that.
Float idea.
But I think one of the things that we as an organization ought to be doing is trying to build interdepartmental cooperation. I'm off on a tangent, I'm sorry, but we're not 7 silos, we're one organization. And we do that a lot on a daily basis. I just thought this might be an example, but we can do 5 floats, it doesn't matter.
We've been short on floats. I'm trying to think of an idea. We've been short on floats in the past, and if we do this, hey, it may not work. None of them may take the challenge. But they might take the challenge.
Our new
And
town
so-
planner could put one in there.
Chief, I know that the fire chief's gonna cheat on you. He just gonna run in one of them red trucks out there and turn the lights on.
Well,
No,
He's got a
no,
horse.
I think he ought to get a white horse and paint some black spots on it like a Dalmatian dog. And ride it with his fire hat on. That's what I think he ought to do.
Miss Tori, you have a little work to do. Good luck.
Well, like I said, I'm a department of one, been by myself for 86 days, so I know there's a lot of work to do, but
Well, that's not totally true.
All right,
We're sure you can handle it.
okay,
let's go ahead.
let's move on.
Next,
Ms. Torrey, thank you, and good luck, and we'll try to give you a little more help. All right. Renewal agreement with the American Legion Post 292 for Cypress Creek Park concession stand. Mr. J.
I believe this is for the spring soccer season, is that correct, Mr. Fisher? Is that for the spring soccer season, or the spring season?
it's for the football season.
For the football season, I'm sorry.
Did it just go through fall soccer? I thought they were covering.
No, it was,
football.
that's what we brought it up, the agreement was
Football
specific.
season.
The agreement was specific.
Well, there's been absolutely no complaints, only praise. So what do we need? A motion to
Motion to
renew the agreement? I make a motion to renew the agreement.
Have a motion from the Vice Mayor Sutton to approve. Have a second from Mr. Hahn. All in favor? All right.
Abstain.
All right. All right, E, establish a special.
Have you got my abstention?
I'm sorry?
Have you got my abstention on that last vote?
You
Mr.
abstain?
Fisher
I
abstained.
have to.
Yeah, Mr. Fisher
Oh,
abstained.
yes,
due to
Mr.
involvement.
Fisher, I'm sorry, Mr. Fisher abstains. Please put that in there, I apologize, Mr. Fisher.
Quite all right.
The food's much better when you're out there.
Thank you for the votes, though.
All right, moving on to E, establishing special call meeting date and time for Thursday, October 28, 2021, at 6 p.m.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor? All right.
Mr. J, could I get with you and put an item on there?
No, the agenda's already gone out.
28.
That's what the packet is for tonight.
Okay.
But get with me, we get on the November meeting.
I don't know if it should be brought up in public, but I'll ask you.
Okay, okay.
All right, moving on, you have some invoices for approval. I'll ask you to look them over and take a motion at the appropriate time.
Is this the one on the emergency work we had to do on the pump?
You know, this is for emergency work on a blower at the wastewater treatment plant. We wrote a little memo there.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what blower pump.
Yeah, they're gonna know more about wastewater before this is over than you ever wish you knew, unfortunately.
So I already did.
This done, again, the reason, I waited till I was requesting an itemized invoice from them, and they're very, very slow about, taking care of the bills. I didn't get that till 9/14, for some
What a mess.
And this piece of equipment being down resulted in numerous violations to our property that I listed in this memo also, so.
It can be done without a budget amendment. Is that correct?
I don't know about that.
It's going to
Just mine
take
or
our
yours?
money that we have in the budget, so, and we're only in the first quarter.
Well, I just wanna make sure that, do we need to do a budget amendment on it before we pass it, or is there money in the we're here,
We can we're in the
Six
first quarter,
months,
we
really,
can
to
cover this, yeah.
and then we'll have to do a
We
budget
got a
amendment
special
later on.
call.
Yes, sir.
We got our executive meeting.
I make a motion to approve this invoice.
Have a motion, Vice Mayor, to approve it. Have a second from Mr. Hahn. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Moving to B, approval of credit application.
We have other invoices.
Yeah, you got
Oh, okay. Well, that's the only one that's on here, okay. All right, excuse me.
fire.
Sorry, Mr. Vaughn.
Fire, police, wastewater.
As long as it's not buying a dang $800,000 fire truck, I'm okay with it.
That's next month.
Fire department don't need nothing for 2 years.
Oh,
You've got one with no PO?
Ho, 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 ho. Park and Rec, the John Deere, here's my problem with that. Okay, so we spend $8,000 buying it, right? But it don't meet the specs that the town requires to buy it. Is that correct? It don't meet the specs, it don't have the head protection and stuff like that on it.
Roll bar.
Am I correct?
I'm not sure, I'm sorry, I can't sit tonight and say that the specs included the rollover bar. I thought they did, and when I approved them, I thought they did, but I can't sit here and say for sure. But that's what this is. We would not accept delivery or pay for it until we got the rollover bar. That's what this is.
Well,
we
I have to
accepted
go back and look at the specs, I'm sorry.
the town of Oakland has something in place that requires that to be on there.
Yes,
Okay, when you add this amount to the amount we paid, is that over $10,000?
no, sir.
It
How
is?
much did we pay
8,000
the
and
first?
2,000 and some change?
How much did we pay for the
No,
first thing?
I believe the base bid was I better stop talking.
I was going to say, I'll have to.
I'd have to go pull it.
I make a motion to approve all invoices except the John Deere until I can see every piece of paper on the bids and the package and everything else on it before I approve it.
A second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need to know what happened then, because I've been told wrong. First of all, I didn't like it anyway. It was bought when we should have been rolling this money over. And we spent it just because it was in the budget in June the 29th.
Yep.
And then at the amount, if it would have been properly equipped, it would have been over the amount which would have required board approval before it was purchased. And I've got a big problem with it, and I hope everybody else does.
If it's over $10,000 and it didn't come before this board, I got a big problem with it.
Okay.
Because we've been wrote up for that twice already.
Okay, we have a motion from the vice mayor. We have a second.
Yes.
Have a second from Mr. Fisher. All in favor?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Mr. J, when you get the information to the vice mayor and the board that they requested, please.
I'll get it to the full board.
All right. All right, is that it, Miss? We're caught up on invoices, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Next is credit.
Mr. Minor, could that be a continuous bid? How would that be different than the computer technology? Billing part of it one time and one of it again, just to circumvent the purchasing policy?
I don't think that's accurate, no.
Well, then we'll have to look at the specs, see everything that it was on it to determine that. But I'm pretty sure that we wanted that head protection on that thing, because that's.
What
been
I
told
can,
that.
what I can state without hesitation, when I found out that it was going to be delivered without the rollover protection system, I stopped it. That I can say. Now, I'm sorry, I don't recall all the details on the.
So where is it now?
Yeah, do we have it?
Yeah, it's in Public Works.
It's where?
But
So
you
how
said-
did we stop it?
Why didn't we stop the delivery?
If it didn't have it on it, why didn't we stop it? Because it was June the 29th?
No,
was it?
no, we stopped it because it's something we need. But I stopped the payment because it did not have the rollover bar on it.
And we don't know what the payment,
I'll have to go back and
Yes,
look.
yeah.
As the
Okay.
vice mayor said, that was 3
We've
months.
established
that
that,
was 3 months
that
ago.
that we've already voted on this. We've established that you will get the report you
We did.
requested.
thank
And we
you.
move on now, please.
I don't know why $8,000 keeps hitting me in the head. Do you remember how much it cost, Tori?
I would have to go back and look, I believe I quoted the base at $7,600. If I remember correctly.
Was that tax and everything?
There'd be no tax.
No tax?
That's just the base cost.
I would honestly, I'd have to go back and look.
Okay. We ready to move on now? All right. Approval of credit applications.
Already did.
Make a motion.
Have a motion?
This is Memphis Chain and Cable, what,
You gotta have a motion to hear.
Have a motion to hear, please.
Okay, well, we make
I
a
made the motion, somebody needs a second,
Oh,
or we don't hear
mo-
it.
For approval of credit applications.
Who wants it?
yeah, what,
Yeah,
What's up?
what's it for? Change.
Memphis Chain and Cable, we use chain and, rigging equipment and rescue stuff every day.
Coming along and all that.
Well, this is actually, and the reason I need this is because we have to, by NFPA standard, we have to use grade 100 chain. You just can't go anywhere and buy grade 100 chain. Well, I shopped all over the place, and lo and behold, the cheapest place I found it was right on Channel Street in Memphis. And that way I can get chain, I can get fittings, I can get couplings, everything I need for rescue rigging.
And this is just credit application.
Yeah, it's a credit application,
How much is it?
so I can purchase it if I need it.
How much is it?
Oh, this is not,
No.
No, your credit.
It'll be,
this is so I
I
can,
know, but did you said you looked at it, did you price it?
yes.
How much was it?
Well, it depends on, grade 100 chain will run you about, with, clevis hooks, say 20 feet, will run you about $350. The grade 100 chain rated 8,800 pounds, really 12,000 pounds with safety factor to it. And for overhead lifting and man loads, you have to have grade 8 or grade 100 chain. You just can't go to Target, or to Tractor
Ace.
Supply or anywhere to get that. It's a specialty chain.
make a motion
Have
to
a motion.
approve it.
Have a motion, Mr. Fisher, to approve the credit application. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Vice Mayor Sutton. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Need to have a motion to enter executive session, discuss matters as follows for executive session to include possible or pending litigation.
Make a motion.
Have a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
I hope that thing didn't pick up every crap and damn I said up here. Never seen one. this,
We need to take note of it, because that was what everybody else.
you're right, we thought it was 60-40, but that's not right. We got it. We can get it on second reading. We'll get it.
here when y'all had that discussion, I just wanted to.
Well, you ought to damn well been in here.
I was in the, yeah.
You had the munchies today too, huh? Come on, man, let's go.
But Kim said she's never had a problem with it either.
That's
But-
what I'm saying.
But we should be able to put that little note on the tax bill.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
You get a Fayette one, don't you?
I get Fayette County.
And that's, the other thing Jay was talking to me about, it don't have the expansion of assessed value, it has the assessed value, but it don't have improvement lines on there like Fayette County has and all that. I don't know whether, Oakland really wants to get into that part of it, but without doubt, we should be able, over on the left-hand corner up there, say, this is not a bill,
Yeah.
right? That's been
Well,
electronically
you know
sent.
that we do not send our bills.
Right,
Okay.
well, no, if I go back to 17, when I started getting them, your name was on them.
Yeah, but that's
17,
because
18.
but the state puts them on
Okay.
there. The state actually produces our tax bills.
And
They mail them out.
I thought it was just because I just moved here
Yeah. but
and I sent it to my
Yeah.
mortgage company.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'll figure out why. I'm not sure.
I just, see, and the other side, the bright side of this thing is, and I don't know if people think about this, but I pay my Fed taxes this year. I pay Oakland's this year. I also make 2 payments in San Bernardino, California for my tax purposes. So I don't have to wait a year to get it in my tax system. So I get all that money back, so to speak. I had a good bookkeeper.
I guess so. Yay.
So-
All right. Yeah, I'll let you know something tomorrow.
And this one here is, I love this bill here, $260 some odd dollars.
Don't you?
I just got mine for San Bernardino, $14.72.
Hey, when I moved back here from Memphis, boy, that really made me feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, we don't pay
I hear
anything.
people complaining out here, and I thought, well, you have no clue.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, just go across the county line right there. Says Shelby County taxes ate our lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Between that and the utility bills up there, shoot, we're living out here for,
I'm telling you, my last Chickasaw bill was $126 and change, and that's running AC. In California, I lived on the coast. You don't have AC there.
right?
It was nothing to get, during the summer, to get a $400 bill.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not running anything.
On Covington Pike, we had pool, we had,
That's only, yeah, I had a pool.
and we had hot tubs, and our utility bill was $400 a month. It don't matter what kind. In the ice storm, when utilities were out, we were still charged $400, well, our normal utility. Yeah,
Oh, these,
I mean, it's crazy.
my gas bill I just paid, I've already paid November's bill.
start the recorder back so I don't forget.
All right.
It's hot. It's nice.
Okay.
I'll get a picture of
All right,
that.
we'll
Where-
call the meeting back to order. Mr. J?
Mayor and gentlemen, there are three items for your consideration for action following the executive session. The first would be to authorize the town manager to post a notice for a new position of finance director, chief financial officer for the town. This would be a new position for the town.
Okay, have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the advice of legal counsel on this issue.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion from the vice mayor, have a second from Mr. Cates, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. J?
The second would be to authorize the town of Oakland, through the mayor, to retain special legal counsel for advice and guidance regarding the Fayette County Commission redistricting process.
I make the motion to accept the advice of legal counsel on this issue.
Second.
Have a second. Motion from Vice Mayor Sutton, have a second from Mr. Hine, all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. J?
The third is authorize the city attorney to pursue collection of, how do I want to say that, delinquent?
Damages.
Damages.
I make a motion to accept the advice of legal counsel on this matter.
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Cates, all in favor?
You get the next one.
Aye.
Mr. Fisher? Would you like to adjourn this meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion from Mr. Fisher to adjourn the meeting, have a second?
Second.
Have a second, Mr. Cates? We are adjourned.
Aye.